We've got trouble.
Good one.
Right, we're on our way.
Tomorrow we're having you for lunch.
What are we gonna do if we're spotted, Frank? Go, Frank!
The realtor here.
Derek was right all along.
Get down. That's the end of the weekend, cowboys. What's up, Oz?
You go on. I'm gonna go back and stop those
Bankers.
God's sake, Oz, put that thing down. Let's get in there and hit the leader.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of Celluloid Dissections podcast. I am your host, Derek, and as you know, I am a Derek, and Derek's don't run. And as always, I have my lovely co-host. I'm glad to be recording with her right now, because we almost postponed the show again today, guys. It was getting bad. It was like we were recording on a Tuesday, but furthermore, Carly, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yes, I am glad that we are back recording. It seems like with all my shows, like I go really well for a while, and then something comes up, and one of us disappears, and then it gets postponed for months. And we almost got to that point, but we're going 3 months strong now with this one, so hopefully we can keep it up.
Yeah, as we know, you had a family thing that happened, and we all know if you follow you on Facebook and stuff, and I'm glad everyone that said their obliges and stuff and post on that post when that did happen, and and my heart goes out to your family and stuff.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate it. And yes, that was like the first thing I kind of noticed was it seemed like most of the people, expressing their sorrows were people in the horror community, and that, that always makes me feel really good inside to know I have this good set of friends, even if they aren't people I could just walk down the street and talk to or anything like that. It's just nice to have this community that I'm involved in and to see that they care. So yeah, definitely a rough time, but I'm getting through it, and I'm happy to be back in the podcasting land.
Yeah, plus we're talking about a fun movie today, so so at least that's good. At least you had something fun to watch and nothing too serious or anything.
Yeah, like the past 2 films we did, this was a nice change of pace. Even though I did love the past 2 films, but it's nice to change up the genre a little bit here.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but. I've been noticing your 85 watches lately, Carly, and I saw you watch the film Creature.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I could not, I had trouble getting into that one, and I told JP even, I came to the conclusion that movies set in space are not my thing.
It's, with that one, it's more of a nostalgia movie, that one, for me, per se, because I saw it way younger than I shouldn't. Especially when a certain character comes into play later, now I'm watching it now. Wow, this is more rapier than I ever remembered.
Yes, for sure. And
good old Klaus Kinski, man.
Yeah, quite the cast. And then isn't the main guy the dad from Ferris Bueller?
Yeah, he is. He is.
That threw me off the whole time. I was like, I can't take this guy serious.
I'm so glad you noticed that. I'm the first time I watched it, I'm like, is that Ferris Bueller's dad?
Yeah, because he looks the same, and I think I've only seen him in one other thing, but and the other thing being, what is it? is it not another teen movie or something? He like plays a parody pretty much of himself in some other movie, and that's like the only other thing I've seen him in besides Ferris Bueller. And in this one too, he looks exactly the same, so it's hard to really differentiate him.
Yeah, it's Alien ripoff, so
Yeah, for sure.
Like when I was watching it the last time I watched it, I'm like, holy shit, the music sounds exactly like fucking Alien. What the fuck? Like they don't even try to hide it. Like I messaged Moods and I'm like, why is this this music is so fucking Alien? I'm like, yeah, it's kind of bad, but I kind of dig it still. It's like one of those movies that I could watch when it's more of a shut your brain off type movie for me per se.
Yeah, for sure. It's one I might even give a rewatch to before we get to the big event, the big show. Even though I'm pretty sure it's not going to make my list based on the other films there, but just for the sake of giving it another try, I might, depending on if I have the time or not.
Yeah, it's definitely, spoiler, it's not going to be on my list either, but
yeah.
but I still have fun with it. That's
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been busy, just work, and like we always talk about my work life. It's so much greater. Like I had a vacation the other week, and then the week back, I'm like, oh my god, this sucks.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And yeah, that's about it. Plus, been recording multiple podcasts. I'm always.
What's that? Go ahead.
I'm always busy. I'm just trying to branch out and get our word and get our show out there. Like, actually, I talked to I guested on the newest episode that's coming out of Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Paul Stevenson actually listened to our show, the host of that show. He's like, yeah, like Carly, she has a great voice and stuff. I like listening to her and stuff. Like, oh, that's cool because you listen to the show.
Well, spoiler alert, he actually reached out to me, and I'm going to be doing a project with him sometime in the future here, which is pretty cool, honestly, because, I feel like I've guested on mainly pretty much all the main shows that we have on Horrorphilia and everything like that, and I've made some good friends along the way, but it's been a while. Like, I keep recurring on shows, and it's been a while since I've had someone new kind of reach out and want me on their show, and I've been friends. He like messaged me and he was like, wow, we've been friends on Facebook for a while here, and like we never really communicate. And I was like, yeah, I always see your posts and that, and now it's just nice to kind of find new people, and so I'm excited to kind of do a show with him now.
Yeah, let me guess, it's near October.
Yes.
Because I remember him listening to a show recently that he guested on Legion podcast, also Desmond's Flicks, and he mentioned he was doing something for Halloween, like they're doing some with like female horror hosts. So that's cool. That's cool as all hell.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just gonna say, like, you're saying you've been busy doing all these podcasts, and I've pretty much been doing the opposite right now. I think the last time I recorded a show was with you last month, so since then I've kind of been...
That's because you love me.
Yes, of course.
So that's all that matters.
Main priority right there. But
that's right. If you didn't know, me and Carly are actually been secretly hanging out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I go up to see him like once a week, It's like a 6-hour drive, but it's worth it, yeah.
We get to stop those rumors because, all the other Facebook, so they can be posted on Facebook later.
All the memes. They'll come flooding in. But yeah, I'm happy to be recording again. I mean, Austin and I should be recording another show soon. He's an example of, we were going pretty strong, going monthly, and then something came up with him, so he couldn't really record for a while, but I think everything's squared away now, so we should be hopefully getting a new episode out there soon.
That's good, man, because I like Austin. I don't agree with some of his opinions, but I like he's a good voice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like when he posted his Instagram, his letterbox on his basket case, I almost had a seizure, but
I think the whole world seizure did that.
Yeah, but to each its own. I know, like, we all have our tastes and dislikes, and you and me disagree on films, too. Like, it's not like we love fucking everything,
Yeah, exactly. And I respect, people are allowed to have their different opinions, and I respect it as long as it's a real opinion and it's not like just going against the grain or, you know, following other people because they like the film and you're going to pretend that you like the film too. As long as people are real about it, it's all good.
It's all good in the hood.
Yeah.
But I'm can't wait to hear you and Austin talk again, because you know I like you. Like I said, he has a good voice, and I like his the way he approaches it. And it's good to see him branch away from Woodsboro Brothers, because then they just start doing reviews on like 95 90 slashers.
Yes.
Nitra,
sure.
Yeah. But why don't we take a little break, play a little music of the film that we're covering tonight, which was actually good that I found 3 pieces of music to play for this, because it was tough to find stuff for this film in the soundtrack department, but I did. So we'll play a little snippet, then we'll just talk about the film.
Yeah.
are back. If you haven't guessed by some of that music already, Carly, let the listeners know what film we are covering tonight.
We are doing Bad Taste from the year 1987. Dun dun dun.
Yep. And who is this film the directorial debut of?
Mr. Peter Jackson.
Yes. If you don't know Peter Jackson, Academy Award-winning director.
Yeah. Which is, pretty crazy.
Yes, exactly. He went on to direct, if you're a fan of the Middle-earth films, like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films, of course. Film I do like from him is The Lovely Bones. That's a really cool film.
I've seen that. I didn't realize he did that one.
Yeah. Of course, King Kong, which, I don't hate as much as some of my other co-hosts or other people that but I do feel that fucking film is way too fucking long because they spend like just an hour on the boat,
Yeah, I know. Good background, doggy. But yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed that King Kong, but I probably haven't seen it since I was, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11, like that age range. I was probably pretty young the last time I actually watched his version of King Kong, but I like King Kong movies, so I like it. I would have to rewatch it to see what people mean by it being too long, because as everyone knows, I'm not a big fan of long films these days, so that's one I'd definitely like to go back to one of these days and see if I still feel the same way.
Yeah, it's kind of, just the first half of the film feels long to me, and sometimes I just doze off it because they spend like an hour on the boat before they get to the island.
All I ever think about when that film was brought up is freaking Jack Black.
Yeah, he's not. I'm not a Jack Black hater either. Like I sometimes like because he started out as like a serious actor. If you didn't know that, he was in Dead Man Walking. That was one of his first movies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't... Yeah, I've only really ever seen him in his super goofy films, and, I mean, I think... I'm actually a fan of him, to be honest. Like, I think he's a pretty good, in the comedic sense, but, like I said, I've only ever really seen him in the comedies and the, wacky type of roles that he's played, so, to see him in this movie, I remember thinking, like, what the heck?
Yeah, definitely. But... we're not talking about that film. We're
yes.
Yeah, a little more films that Peter Jackson did, of course. Heavenly Creatures, which I dig. It's like a early like true crime story film with Kate Winslet and I think the other girl's Rachel Griffiths in that film. Really good. With it's kind of like a murder film where they plot to murder someone. It's really good. The Frighteners, of course, which was probably his last horror-related film that he ever did, which I dig. Cool shout-outs to and stuff in that film. And the film he did after this was... actually, he did two other films after this one. He did Meet the Feebles, which is a all-Muppet film. Yeah, it's all puppets, yeah. And they do, have sex and do sleazy shit to each other. It's called Meet the Feebles, yeah.
Oh my god.
Then he did Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, which is probably, if you're a horror fan, that's probably the more talked about film.
Yeah, that's actually one that I still have not watched, and I hear that one is extremely gross, and that kind of keeps me from watching it, because I kind of find that I have a very weak stomach nowadays to movies, unfortunately, with a lot of gore and just gross effects and stuff like that. So I've kind of put that one on the back burner, but I do want to check it out one of these days.
Especially after you've seen this one, of course, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that really... It was like the... what do you call it? The pass into... I can't think of the word, but...
I know.
The warm-up, I guess you can say, for what's to come.
Yeah, definitely. So, pretty much the main setup of Bad Taste is this film actually started out as a short film called Roast of the Day, Carly, where it was just about the charity guy, the guy that drives in the car and picking up the charity slips.
Oh, okay.
And then Peter Jackson decided to expand it, and pretty much like all the scenes with the charity work. What's his name? The caregiver, Giles. That's the name. I think that's the name of the character.
Yes, yes.
He goes and picking up like the slips and driving into the town. That's the original footage from the original. Sure.
Oh, okay.
And pretty much every actor in this movie, like the main dudes, like Barry, Frank, Giles, and what's the other? Ozzy. They're all Peter Jackson's real life friends at the time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they all like worked secondhand and played multiple parts. And of course, as we know, Peter Jackson is Derek in this film. Did you know that?
I did not.
And he's
I didn't really know what Peter Jackson looked like until just looking at the IMDb page right now. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, he actually plays two roles in this film. He also plays Robert, the main alien that's tied up that pushes Derek off the, he fights Derek and he's tied up, and Derek does that awesome knife scene that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So that scene's actually two Peter Jacksons in the same scene.
That's epic. That's actually that's cool backstory. I like hearing things like that where it's just a bunch of friends kind of getting together and making a movie.
Yeah, and plus Peter Jackson also just in case acting, starring, writing the film, directing. He also did the effects also.
Wow.
Yeah, and this film took 4 years to make. So the guy who plays Barry, he has that awesome beard and muscle mustache.
Uh-huh.
He had to keep that for the entire 4 years.
It's dedication, man.
So, yeah, it's a pretty low budget film. Because it was made for so many years and working weekends and with friends and doubling as crew members. Also, I think they also did a lot of the crew stuff. Actually, two of the guys, I think Ozzy and Frank, actually are the guys who sing the theme song for this film too. If you heard in the credits.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Yeah, and you hear like a female vocalist in the background. That's actually Peter Jackson's future wife at the time, Fran Walsh, singing in the background of that song.
Awesome.
Yeah. But we'll get more into that in a minute. But Carly, I know this was probably a first-time watch for you, so I'm very curious what you thought of Bad Taste.
Well, I will be honest. When I first started to watch it, and a good bit of the way through, I was kind of like, this is like, I don't know, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or I didn't really know what this movie was about or anything. I went in completely blind. I'd only known the weird, interesting cover for it and just the title, and I knew it was a lower budget film as well, but other than that, I didn't really read a synopsis, and I decided for the fun of it just to go in completely blind. And at first I wasn't super into it. I was kind of like, okay, these characters are weirdos, and the comedy doesn't really hit for me all that well and all that, but I would say once you get to the scene where they kind of go and check out that mysterious house and stuff like that, when things start to pick up a little bit more, I actually kind of turned around on it and started liking it a good bit more. I will say the comedy in it still doesn't necessarily hit. That's one thing with me, is certain comedy just doesn't work for me too well, and the comedy you get in this one is a little ridiculous, and it just doesn't really make me laugh or anything like that. But at the same time, I did find the movie to be entertaining. I thought it was awesome with the gore effects and just the gross out moments. I wouldn't say I gagged or anything like that, oddly enough, because this one was pretty gross, especially one scene in particular. And
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
There's actually, honestly, there's probably two scenes that really, maybe, okay, there's 3 scenes that really, really grossed me out in this one, but it wasn't enough for me to lose the ability to eat anything or be that grossed out. But at the same time, I thought it was all really well done with that aspect, and the fact that it is a lower budget film, and the movie as a whole, I think, is pretty well done as well. I do think, it's entertaining. The way the thing, what you get on the cover, I guess you can say, of the movie, the way they end up looking is just interesting, and it's actually kind of creepy in a way to watch, but it's also kind of funny and ridiculous at the same time. So overall, this one, I don't know, it's like I ended up liking it, but I don't know if I would necessarily run back to it a whole lot. I know some people kind of hold this one in high regards, but I probably wouldn't rewatch it a ton or anything like that, but I was happy by the end with what I got, so that's kind of my take on it.
Nice. Yeah, I get you. It's because like this comedy is way over the top, and you could tell like the way that they're acting and stuff. Like Derek in the film, fucking hilarious, I think.
Yeah.
It's that type of humor that I do dig. It's kind of dry and simple. It's gonna continue. And like if you watch New Zealand films, like Housebound is an example of a film that takes a lot from early Peter Jackson films, and it's very dry in the sense. It might be also like a British thing too, because I notice a lot of British comedies kind of like this too, where it's kind of like subtle jokes.
Yeah.
But I love this film, but I do agree, like it's like it's not going to be for everyone. But if you do like these type of movies, I do recommend it if you haven't seen it, and it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm glad I finally got to check it out, and I am happy that my opinion kind of changed, because I don't want to watch a movie and be down on it and then give a review of it and not have a lot of input or anything like that. So I was happy that pretty much halfway through I started getting it more into it and enjoying what I was watching and just enjoying the sort of gross out moments and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say definitely this is a movie for people who like their gore and people who like to just have fun with movies. I think this is a movie that would be up their alley, where some other people, like me, who doesn't really connect that well with over-the-top comedy, I just, don't care for films like that. So it's definitely an acquired taste type of film, I guess you can say.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one that I feel like will have mixed reactions, and even people, I know like some people don't even like Dead Alive, and it's kind of a different tone, because I'll let you know this right now. Dead Alive is weird because everyone just talks about like the whole gore aspect of it, but they don't actually talk about the story of Dead Alive, because down in the nitty-gritty of it, it's about a boy meets a girl and they fall in love.
Whoa.
It's kind of like a romance film in the middle of like this gory, gross out zombie fucking movie.
Yeah. Oh no, the sirens are going off again. But yeah, I feel like that's I feel like that is something, that is a funny point, because Dead Alive is a movie where I feel like I only know it's about the gore, and I have no idea what the plot is to it, because no one ever tells me the plot. They're just like, oh, there's this one really gross scene that'll make you puke, and that's pretty much the gist of what I get with that film.
Yeah, definitely. But we might as well just get right into it. I don't actually have any clips to play, so we'll just get right into the film. So if you haven't seen Dead Alive, folks, and you don't want to hear about anything that happens in it, spoiler alert, it's about to be told in 1, 2, 3, and we're off. So, the whole fucking beginning of this movie is so bizarre because it's pretty much the aspect that I see of it where I think the alien invasion just like begun, or this town is getting attacked. The town's actually called Kaharo, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Where,
Yeah, close enough.
yeah, and actually, there's actually a cool thing about that town that I looked up, the actual meaning of it. Let me look for it on my notes real quick. Where are you? The sirens are going up. Oh, here we go. I found it. I can't read my handwriting sometimes.
Me neither.
It's a fictional town, and Kaharo actually means eat hungrily. So that's a little side note, little fun fact.
It means eat hungrily?
Yes.
Interesting. That's smart placement right there.
Well, there's actually a lot of like hidden subtext in this film too, and we'll get into a little bit of that. And so this mysterious man with a kind of a hook cigar. Is that what you call it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He has like a finger too, like a hook finger thing that he punches the phone in. It's like he kind of reminded me of Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, it just looks like he has like crab hands or something like that. That's not a good way to describe it, but it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, and then he gets this call that this alien, something bad's happening in this town, and they're like, "Oh, we should do nothing." And he's like, "It's time to call the boys." And it actually says the boys on his telephone.
Yeah.
And who are the boys, Carly? What, do you know their name of the actual organization?
Well, I have it pulled up here, and that is the Astro Investigation Defense Service, aka AIDS.
Yep. Yeah. Another little acronym of something that was happening in the 80s.
Too soon.
They're making it a fuck up joke out of it.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, so first ones we meet are, of course, Barry, who's walking into town, and it's deserted. This town looks like, I guess that most of the budget was to clean the town out.
Yeah.
So they're in this town, and Barry's, and he's getting followed by like this blonde-haired, blue shirt guy with an axe, very slowly. And at first I'm thinking like maybe they're infected zombies, because the first time I watched this I didn't know they were aliens. And spoiler alert, they're aliens. But I think we said that actually.
Yeah,
but pretty much he's followed him, and Barry's like, stop, because he doesn't know like if it's a human or not at first, like they're trying to do like the warning calls. And then they have like this big scuffle on the beach. Then Barry pulls out his fucking revolver, and on the phone he's on the walkie-talkie thing, and he's talking to Derek, who's played by Peter Jackson, of course. And Derek's like, headshot, mate! And then, good impression, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Barry shoots him in the head, of course, and this is our first gore effect. And what did you think about this scene, Carly?
I mean, I was like, this movie really kind of just gets right into it. That was one thing I noticed immediately was I was kind of like, oh, what am I getting myself into? I mean, I thought it was definitely interesting, but I was, at the same time, I was like, I don't really know what's going on here, kind of like you, where you were like, oh, are these zombies, or what's really going on here? I mean, but yeah, you do see right away that you're going to get yourself some gore and some good action shots, I guess you can say. So, yeah, I mean, to start off the movie, I think I was just kind of like dumbfounded in a way. I was like, I don't know. This is obviously where I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to really like this or not, but I'm going to go along with the ride. So,
yeah,
I felt there.
The first time I saw that scene, I was like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
You just see this guy's walking around with like half his fucking head missing, and I'm like, oh my God. And it's cool the way that it's cut, because you see like the feet dangling, and it's like a slow up shot, and then you see like the actual fucking it's pretty much half, like his head up to his nose is gone.
Yeah.
And It's fucking great, and there's just blood squirting out. There's a lot of quirky blood squirts and shit. And Barry's like, "Oh yeah, I did that, and made it." And he keeps going on his patrol and talking to Derek, and then he gets attacked by like, I think 4 more of them, or 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting chased, and Derek's also interrogating Robert, who's also played by Peter Jackson. So then this is the scene where they're interrogating him, because they captured him and tied him off the side of a cliff, which I'll get into the scene in a little bit more, but like knowing that that's Peter Jackson in both that scene, you gotta admit that's some great editing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because like I didn't even really notice it was the same person at all. So that might be, I mean, that's good for the film. That might be stupid that I didn't notice that, but that's honestly pretty cool, and they do a good job based on the fact that they had a bad budget, because nowadays, people try to make a low budget film, and I guarantee it won't look that good.
No, not at all. And it's just great. And he takes like this giant, like he pulls up, because the back, it's kind of funny that the fucking backpack that he takes this fucking gigantic fucking sword thing out of is smaller than the actual sword.
Uh-huh.
And fucking
like no questions asked.
And then he's just got this hammer, and he's just nailing this fucking thing into this dude's fucking foot, and this fucking scream is fucking unbearable. Like that fucking scream that Robert does, and which is... Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, just the thing with the foot, like, does make me cringe, because anytime you picture, like, a nail going through a foot, or, like, stepping on a Lego, that type of stuff, like, gives me just cold chills. And so seeing, I've never really seen anything like this where someone's just nailing a giant sword into someone's foot like that. So I do give it props for that, because that did kind of make me, like, want to look away a little bit.
Definitely. And of course, the Robert scream actually singles the other 5 aliens that were chasing Barry. So they end up going up after the cliff to see what's going on with Robert. And Barry's like, "Oh my god, I gotta go warn him." And then he's like going for his gun and trying to look for the walkie-talkie to warn him. And then we have the most fucking hilarious, epic scene ever, where Derek pulls out this Glock fucking machine gun out of his fucking backpack and starts like, "Eat lead, motherfuckers!" And he's just fucking shooting them up, and then he actually fucking ends up sticking the fucking machine gun through one of them. Just keep shooting and using it as like a body shield. It was pretty fucking odd. And the fucking Glocks and shit. And then, of course, he's running away because he's trying to find the other clip. And he ends up on the cliff and almost fallen. And he holds on to the rope that Robert was on, which is all now cut off because Robert is gone now because he's escaped somehow or fell, we don't know, at that moment. And so he's just hanging for dear life at this moment, Derek. It's kind of weird saying my name in first person, but it's going to be happening. But backtrack. Greatest quote ever happened before, because when Barry warned Derek, he's like, "Derek, you have to run." And, of course, Derek replies, "But I am a Derek, and Dereks don't run."
Yes, and I thought of you immediately when I heard that.
I think I did use that before, too. I always use that in, like, our chats and stuff, and now you know where it came from.
Yeah, I think you did it, like, a few weeks ago, and that's why I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
That's where I got it from. So this movie kind of inspired me, in a way. But anyways, of course, Derek's hanging off the cliff now, and begging for dear life. He's going for, like, the last magazine of his machine gun, while he's getting hammered. Like, these fucking things are giant sledgehammers, not like regular size hammers. Mm-hmm. He gets it and shoots them, of course. And while he's trying to climb up, guess who pops out of a fucking bush? Robert. And now it's Peter Jackson versus Peter Jackson on the side of a fucking cliff, which is also another scene which is great editing, and it's thrilling because they're just fucking hanging off this cliff the whole time, and it's like kind of like cartoony in a way. That's the way that he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing it like you could see me, but like he's kind of Looney Tunes style. And then Robert just cold clocks Van Damme, kicks him into the chest, and Derek falls, and we think he dies.
Yeah, which the Derek character was I actually kind of found him to be a little bit annoying. I know he's like the main comic relief in the film, but he was kind of annoying me at the beginning, so I was like, oh, thank God this mother effer finally died. And then as you go on in the film, you get a new surprise there, but
yeah. It gets interesting. We'll get more into it in a minute. So, of course, Barry goes up there, and while this is going on, we forgot to mention Frank and Ozzy, the other two members of AIDS, are... Sorry, I just had to laugh for a second. Are doing like roadblocks so other people don't come into this town because they're looking for people, these aliens, pretty much. We'll get more into their schemes and goals later. So, but they, unfortunately, while this is going on, like we said, Giles, the charity collector, ended up getting in, and he's on his way into the town. So, while this is going on, I'm trying to backtrack and remember. I think Giles does end up in the town. It's just the way the film is edited. It's very fast-paced, the editing.
Yeah, so for sure.
So Giles ends up in the town, and he's getting chased also. And while this is happening, Frank, Ozzy, and Barry find out Derek died, supposedly. Spoiler alert. But they're like, we have to make a plan, and they're like, oh, I think we have to go with that alien was going earlier because I think he was heading somewhere before me and Derek caught him. So they end up following the trail of the alien, of course, who's now Robert is actually in the scene. Comes into the scene where Giles is collecting bills, and if you haven't seen the thumbnail for this episode, folks, Carly, explain what this Giles character sees Robert doing.
So Robert is just chilling, and he's sitting there pretty much eating this, half the top of the head that has been completely sliced off of this poor human, and he is eating the brains out like it's a soup or a salad or whatever you want to call it, and it's very gross, very, very gross. This was one of the scenes that I was pretty disgusted by.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense why it's our thumbnail.
Yes. Yes, it's a good, if you want to sum up the film in one scene, that's a good one, because, and once again, the effects, the just grossness coming out of his head and just watching him eat it, I think that's really, really well done there. Yeah.
Plus it's Peter Jackson on the screen, too, so it also made it a good image for the thumbnail.
True, yeah.
True that, and it's more of the way he actually looks, Peter Jackson. Mm-hmm. If you see him in like pictures and stuff, so because I didn't even know he was Derek until I saw the credits.
I know, like my mind was blown when you told me that, and it makes me want to go back and rewatch the film to see if it's obvious now, because that's quite the disguise.
Yeah, definitely. So of course Robert is now chasing Giles through the town with Derek's giant sword that he had in his foot, and he could walk pretty good, like he just had a fucking giant sword in his foot.
Yeah, he's limping a little bit, but he's like, oh no, I'm getting you.
And there's like dramatic music playing, dana, 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 dana. Like with the slow moving of rolling the window up.
I know it's like supposed to be this big suspenseful moment.
Yeah, it's just the budget and stuff, it's like the way. But I like the music of this movie too. It actually has a pretty good score, all things considering. It fits the tone.
And it's like consistent throughout. Like you always have some sort of music going on in the background, and I do enjoy it. I think it is pretty well done.
Yeah. So of course, Giles is driving off, and Robert. See, I'm confusing the characters now. now because they're played by the same guy, is chasing him through the town, and end up at this giant house or mansion in the middle of the fucking woods.
Yes.
Which is the first clue that maybe you should not go there.
Yeah,
And
definitely
of course,
doesn't belong.
And of course, Giles locks on the door, and this place is the headquarters of these people that are doing this. And he gets knocked the fuck up by this big giant dude dressed in a butcher suit. And he wakes up in a giant pot full of carrots and fucking... It's like something out of Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
like Bugs Bunny.
It's like the, 11 herbs and spices.
Yeah, exactly. It's Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
It's fucking great because he wakes up and the way Robert's looking at him like, we're gonna eat you later. And then we're introduced to our main antagonist of this movie, Lord Crumb. I am Lord Crumb.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, and side note, if you notice, this actor, that's actually not his real voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was overdubbed by a different voice actor. Oh. So it kind of makes sense because it's a more of a because he's not really a human.
Yeah.
So kind of makes it even more realistic looking for the way that he ends up later.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So pretty much this is where we all find out what's going on because Barry, Ozzy, and Frank are now at this place too, and they're scouting it. And we find out that they're harboring humans to pretty much sell as like intergalactic hamburger meat.
Yum.
And the whole reason for this is Lord Crumb is trying to figure out a new recipe for his competitor because his competitor is doing better than him at the time. So he's just trying to find new ingredients to make his product better.
Just sounds so ridiculous when you say it out loud.
Well, it's a whole, like, it's like about consumerism, like the stuff is.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for this time period in the 80s where everything, because you gotta remember, since this film was made over a span of 4 years, this thing would have been relevant at the time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, yeah, it's a very consumerism message within it, where I must find special ingredients to make my product better. And, I kind of dig that this film has, like, some sort of hidden messages in it. It's not just all for bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is... Yeah, I do respect that for sure.
And it's actually during the scene where I think it's Frank, which is the big stocky dude with the black hair.
Mm-hmm.
He actually puts on one of the... Because oh my god, we gotta talk about the fucking scene first. Where they enter, because they're all in like SWAT gear, and fucking they enter like the kitchen area, and then the alien walks in. And what do? They fucking break the alien's fucking head right off his back, and he's like, his fucking invertebrate is fucking hanging off still. They just fucking kick it out of the fucking window. I fucking died laughing so hard.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I was fucking so laughing at that because I don't know. I find fucking people kicking heads out windows hilarious in general. And
of course, yes.
And they're like, "Oh man, we're gonna go in there." So he puts the dead alien shirt on, and he goes into the scene where Crumb's giving his big speech about like we said about being the best of the best, and the way we lost our brothers, being like kind of like a Hitler figure in a way for this alien race. And Carly, explain what Robert does.
Well, you mean where
they're being carried up? Yeah.
They're passing around that substance.
What happens? When they pick Robert up and put him up in front of the bowl? What happens?
He eats the stuff, and it's and it's like all up in their face, and it's green, and it's really nasty, and they're passing it around, and then this dude ends up having to eat it too because he, is trying to be an alien, and that is gross scene number 2 for me.
Oh yeah, because if we've got to mention that the stuff actually came out of Robert because he.
Oh
threw it
yeah, I
up.
forgot. Okay, yeah, I forgot that I forgot where it came from. I just remember them actually having a giant bowl of it.
Yeah, because we
Yeah,
watched.
so that adds to the disgustingness that was that.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too. I kind of laughed though at that scene too because he went for seconds after.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that stuff right there is an example of something that makes me want to actually vomit because anything, seeing someone vomit into a bowl and then this poor guy is like, it's a suspense waiting for this guy to see if he's going to drink it, and then he keeps like getting farther back in line, and that this is definitely where I started to enjoy the film a little bit more for sure, because it just had the gross out moments and the suspense, and I thought that scene was fantastic.
It was great, like it was more of a gag laugh too, because I was gagging while I was laughing when he went for seconds, because
they're all like burping, like it was like really good or something, and they're like getting it all over their freaking faces.
No, it was like Lord Crumb just has it all over his fucking face, like good. It's actually on the back of the DVD because I have the DVD right here. It's fucking hilarious. Like the look he gives, like yeah, I like that stuff.
Yeah, get a napkin, please.
But of course, then they all fuck with Frank. Like, you know what I had to do, and of course Ozzy was watching it because the way it was edited. Ozzy was looking through the door, and he's like, "Yeah, you fucking did, mate." So they end up leaving, and they start to plan because they're gonna hit them tomorrow morning. And while this is going on, of course, then we find out that Derek is still alive. Thank God.
Yes, long live Derek's.
Yep, and Derek is not himself anymore because pretty much this is when you have to shut your fucking brain off with this movie, and because he should have been fucking dead.
Yeah, this is where it gets over the top with the it's already been pretty over the top the whole movie, but I would say this is the most over the top as far as realism goes, where you have this character who fell and is pretty much leaking brain matter everywhere, and it's just like, just put those bad boys back in and we're good.
Yeah. So pretty much his, like, half of his skull, like a piece of his skull keeps opening up, and every time that it opens up, he, like, has, like, seizures. That's the best way I would describe it. And of course, his brains keep falling out and keeps picking them back up and putting them back in, and that's probably not good because,
that's messing with your sanity a little bit.
Yeah, and then he's like holding his head, and we find out he had a hidden car, which I would have fucking ran for that car to begin with before I fucking started to go to a shootout, And we'll talk about more about the car in a little bit, but he ends up getting like this top hat, and that's how he holds his brain in place. It was this weird, stupid, goofy hat.
Yeah.
And he passes out for a minute, but then later on, he wakes back up, and ends up starting to drive off in his vehicle. And Carly, what the fuck's in his vehicle?
The Beatles?
Yes!
For some reason.
I know, and it's weird because like the top hat, because it's like a 2 thing and it has like a double. It's weird to describe without actually showing the listeners, but it's like there's another part of his car on the top where you actually drive.
Yeah, because it's like you look at it from the front and you're thinking, how are the Beatles see through? Because there's no way you can see through the windshield, but it's like he gets in behind them and he's up a little bit higher, I guess, and that's how he's able to see. Now, I don't really understand why this car was like this, but I thought it was cool, though, either way.
I'm like, do these cars actually exist in New Zealand?
Yeah, like, I might buy that, because, I mean,
Why
It
not?
seems like it seems like it wouldn't be the safest choice of vehicle, but at the same time, if you want to be the envy of all your friends who like the Beatles, I mean, that would be a
Yeah.
perfect choice.
Yeah, why not? And it's Sergeant Pepper's band
Yeah.
Beatles too.
Yeah.
And it's fucking funny. I'll get more into the Beatles later because there's one funny scene that I died laughing, and I want to know if you noticed it. Okay, so Derek's driving while I think it's while this is going on. This is the next morning, and Barry, Ozzy, and Frank are going to save Giles and shit, and they decide it's time to start our fucking shootout, and a big giant fucking battle starts happening between the aliens and them. Big giant shootout, and fucking people are getting their limbs chopped off, fucking heads chopped off. Numerous. It's fucking a gore guy's fucking dream come true. The scenes that happen.
Yeah, which I actually did enjoy these scenes. I mean, they're a little bit action-y, I guess you could say, with all the shooting. And I always say I don't really like action sequences, but it was like really satisfying watching all these people just get blown away, all these alien creatures, and once again the gore is just in full force at that point. So I thought the whole sequence was pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, plus there's like one Looney Tune moment where there's like a sniper in the trees and he shoots the tree and then 6 guys come out.
Yeah. The usual.
And then of course Derek's watching the carnage from the road, and his top hat gets shot off, and then he starts having the fucking seizure again. And while he's having the seizure, he takes his belt off, and that's the final look that he has for the rest of the movie, where he wears his belt on the top of his head, which he should have done to begin with.
Yeah.
But whatever. And of course, we notice that he actually smushed some of his own brain. He's like, no. The look on his face, like, fuck.
I know, I started actually feeling bad for the character, where at the beginning I thought he was really annoying. Now I'm like, oh, this poor guy survived, but, like, he's kind of fucked in a way with his circumstances.
Yeah, definitely. And he's on his way there, and he... let me see what happens. And then, of course, while the big shootout is happening, Lord Crumb and Robert are, like, one of the few of the last ones left. And Robert ends up getting killed. Very awesome death where he gets, like, this fucking thing in his fucking neck.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty awesome. And Lord Crumb gets, like, wounded. And this is when they transform.
Yes, which I was waiting for the entire movie. I was like, I even looked, I was like, is this the right movie I was thinking of where they look like this on the cover? And then finally we got to that point and I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, and describe the look of these fucking aliens.
I mean, it's a little hard to put into words. I guess you can say they kind of look like still human, but if a human got a horrible bee sting or infection and their skin just completely bubbled up and their face swelled up and their eyes also are sunken in and their noses, I'm just looking at the picture at this point, the noses are like these big nostrils in between the eyes, and yeah, it literally just looks like a very deformed human being. That's the way I would describe it.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of ghoulish in a way.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah, they're very puppety, which I do dig because this is early Peter Jackson effects. I think one of the dudes actually, I don't hold me to this. I think one of the dudes actually that also worked on the makeup effects with Peter Jackson later worked on Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Because they all filmed those films in New Zealand too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool that he cast some of the same crew and shit. But anyways, yeah, these aliens bring out their true colors finally, and they're like, we're gonna go hunt these fucking humans.
Yeah.
And then that's when fucking they're being chased. I think actually I did miss it because there was one humanoid left that ends up bringing Derek into the picture. And this is the scene when I wanted to mention the Beatles, where we can bounce back and forth. This movie's like plot's like fucking crazy anyways.
Yeah.
but so he ends up bringing out his final weapon that he had hidden inside this, and what is it, Carly?
What was it? I forget.
A fucking chainsaw.
Oh yes, I did know that. I got this movie all screwed up. I knew it was a chainsaw, but yeah.
Well, you did watch it a few days ago.
Yeah.
I did watch it last night. Before.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like the plot is so like it goes so fast by and everything just seems to run together that it's like confusing. But yes, the chainsaw.
Fucking chainsaw, and he fucking saws the dude's face off. And this is the scene that involved the Beatles that I loved. When the blood hits the windshield, and you can see their faces, and they all different faces than they did before. Like fucking Paul McCartney's face is like, oh shit.
I actually didn't even notice that.
It was fucking
See,
funny.
this makes me I need to rewatch this now. I feel like I'm more into it now that we're talking about it.
That's what's good about talking about movies, I feel like, especially when you go scene by scene, because on first time watches you do miss some shit. Anyways.
Yeah, that's actually hilarious. I want to go back and just see that scene now.
Yeah, and you see like he looks like, holy shit, what the fuck, you know? It was funny. But anyways, of course, they're now being chased by these giant mongoloid-looking fucking aliens. Very funny scene where Ozzy's actually gonna go back with a bazooka and blow up the fucking house. And first he's testing it out, and these two aliens that were chasing him, of course, go in the car and start fucking around there. And it's Frank's car.
Yeah.
I should mention that because it does get brought up in a few seconds. And you know, they're playing the music, and fucking Ozzy shoots a giant fucking bazooka missile right at the fucking car, blows up the aliens and the car, and you see Frank's expression, that's my fucking car.
Which would be my exact reaction if that happened to my car, I'll tell you that.
Exactly. I think it would be anybody's fucking...
Yeah, you don't even know what to do at that point. Like,
that was a fucking nice car.
Yeah.
Nice stereo system and shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and then fucking... So, Ozzy ends up going to the house, blows off a section of it. Frank's following him. He's like, come on, we just fucking go in and kill him. There's only a few left, you know? Why waste it? And they're going in there, fighting them, chopping... One gets chopped in the head with a fucking machete, which is fucking awesome. And then the other is getting fucking fucked up, and Derek comes in, and Derek's fucking crazy now.
Yeah, they like say something like, "Oh, he's gone batshit" or something.
Yeah, and there's like
Pretty
this
funny.
great like homage to The Shining, where his head fucking comes through the little crack in the window, in the door, like, "Here's me," you know.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And fucking chasing after them and shit, and fucking while this is happening, fucking Lord Crumb's shooting at Ozzy, wounds Ozzy. Ozzy's getting shot in the legs. Frank's away, and pretty awesome. What happens next? We find out that the alien spaceship is actually this house.
Oh my god, yeah. That's like my favorite visual. I think of the movie is just seeing this freaking house take off like a spaceship. It's just so that like I said, this movie didn't really make me laugh a lot, but just seeing something like that is always comical to me.
Yeah, it's just fucking crazy. Like the grass was fake around the house, and it was like this tension building scene where Ozzy might get sucked in with the grass. Help me, Frank, and shit, and fucking. And,
so ridiculous.
And of course, then the house goes into outer space, and Derek's still in the house.
And he's like, "Mommy,
mommy," and fucking Lord Crumb finds out that Derek is still in the house, and he's going to look for him. And what does Derek do to Lord Crumb now, Carly?
Well, you get yet another epic gore scene where Derek pretty much comes over top of him and goes headfirst into this dude and goes entirely through his body out the other end, and that is Lord Crumb's demise. And then Derek is just covered in this guy's blood, which is again awesome and also gross at the same time.
And very fucking funny scene, because what's Derek's fucking... You know what he says right when he's like coming out of like the ass of Lord Crumb? I'm reborn.
Yes, yes.
Because it looks like he's getting burned.
Oh my god, so gross.
So then Derek's running the spaceship, and he calls the alien headquarters on their home planet, and he's like, "I'm coming for you, motherfuckers!" And he's wearing Lord Crumb's body as a fucking suit now, which is pretty fucking rad and badass. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. We see in the final end credits, while the main theme plays, Ozzy and Barry and Giles all drive it off in Derek's Beatles car.
Yeah. So, happy ending for them.
That is bad taste.
Yes.
Definitely one of my favorite experiences is watching this movie with friends. This is definitely a party movie.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I would like to show this to some unsuspecting people and see what they would think of it.
Exactly. This is definitely like a party house movie where you just drinking beers, maybe smoke a fucking blunt before, and just go for the ride. And it'd probably be a little bit more funny if we were intoxicated when we were watching it. Well, yeah. I probably was the first time I watched it, Carly. But I don't know about you, but I definitely was.
Yeah, see, it's funny, like, people, like, I feel like if I'm drinking while watching a movie, I can't focus on the movie, but I feel like if I watch this movie with a group of friends, then I would find it a lot funnier, especially if it was a group of friends who enjoyed horror movies, and maybe they've also seen the movie before, too, and they know what's coming and all that. I think this would be a more fun and enjoyable watch in that aspect.
Definitely. I know Dave Z like always tells stories about like his group of friends that he used to watch movies with, and they just watch these so bad it's good movies. Like just a movie like Conquest he reviewed recently on one of his shows, and he's like, "This is definitely the fucking movie I would watch with my fucking brother and my friends growing up. It's so fucking bad, it's awesome." Shout out to Dave Z, even though he did say that the name of this podcast was bad.
Oh.
Shots fired, Dave.
A single tear falls from my eye.
But because Watch Z party is even better, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Party.
What do you feel about that name?
It's alright. I could take it or leave it. It's not that great, not that good. Sorry, Dave Z.
Yeah,
it's all love. I love the Watts and I love the Z, and I love the Watt. I just said the name of the title by accident. I meant to say I love Watson and I love Dave Z, so no hate.
I love him too, and it's all in good fun.
And shout out to their show, because I'm really bad at listening to podcasts nowadays, but I did listen to the first episode finally about a week ago, and it was pretty solid, so I'm excited to listen to more. Yeah,
I definitely want to listen to their new one because it's on a movie I actually like. We Are Still Here, so I think they just posted that. So if you haven't seen that and you're a fan of that movie, check that show out. Dave? Give shout-outs too, buddy. But anyways, we have some listener feedback. We'll take a little break, a little more musical break, and then we'll be right back because I gotta actually pull them up, so... Give me one sec, guys. And we are back for our final section of the show where we're going to do some listener feedback. We let the listeners know that we were covering this movie, and if they wanted to know how they felt about it, send us an email. Even if you don't have to, if you've seen the movie before and you just want to give a big shout like the last time you've seen it, you can still send emails, guys. You don't have to really do in-depth reviews on these either. Just a few words is good in the hood at some points too. If you do, it's fine, and if you don't, it's not. But whatever. You agree with that, Carly?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're not asking for much.
Yeah, but anything is well appreciated.
I'm glad that we do get some of these in-depth reviews sometimes. Yeah. But the first one, of course, is from Heather Powell, who, I think I just said her full name on iTunes. Sorry, Heather. Forgive me. That's what it says in the email. That's why I read it. Sorry. So Heather sent us a review of this movie, and she messaged me while she was watching this.
Oh.
Yes, very interesting because she's like, "What the fuck did you make me try to watch?"
Oh God.
Yes, but pretty much. Hey, Derek and Carly. Bad taste. What can I say? At first, I was concerned that I haven't taken enough LSD to enjoy the film, but about 10 minutes into the film, I could see why you guys are reviewing it. This is a fun movie that is very well made, especially for on a shoestring budget. The plot is simple and the practical effects were great. Spoiler alert, the scene with Alien was eating the dead dude's brains with the spoon almost made me gag, and that is a sign of a good effect, even when it was initiated a physical reaction. The scene where they drink the human smoothie also made me gag. And she also had like parentheses that said LOL. And at first I thought this was a zombie film, but when I realized that it was based on the concept of harvesting humans for food, of aliens harvesting humans for food, I thought that was pretty clever. I would recommend this movie if you enjoy films that are satires and utilize dry humor in their storytelling. Thank you for expanding my cinematic knowledge and experience. Smiley face. Keep killing it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Heather.
Yeah, that's pretty well said, and that's pretty much the same opinion I feel like I had, where first 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, Derek, what have you gotten me into? And then I was along for the ride, so I pretty much completely agree.
Yeah. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah, me too.
And our final email, we only got two this time. One of our usual emailers had family issues, so it was okay in the hood. Shout out to Will. Hope to see you next month, Will. So, but we have one more from Psychotic Cinema. Do you recognize that name at all, Carly?
I do, but I can't think of who that is.
That's Sam Edwards.
Okay, yes. I think you even said that at the beginning, and I completely forgot. But I always know that username, but I can never think of which person that actually associates with. So sorry, Sam.
Yep, it's okay. He's a small, tiny ginger.
Oh yes, of course. They don't deserve respect.
They do. But Sam started his email with this great, it's not the actual thing, but it's the title card.
The subject line?
Yeah, the subject. That's what I'm looking. That's the word I'm looking. Thank you, Carly. That's why I have you.
Yeah, saving the day.
But yeah, the subject card says, "I am a Derek, and Derek's don't run." Of course. So Sam writes us, "Well, what more can I say about bad taste? The plot is thin, the acting at times is awful, the effects are over the top, and I love it. Just a fun overall time, and honestly one I plan on revisiting multiple times. I really wish Jackson made these types of films again. 9 out of 10 out of the fun factor." Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's a different scale. He's not rating it like as an actual movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. I wasn't too sure. I never really know what Sam's opinions are on films. I feel like I don't know too much about his taste, so that's cool to see he enjoys something like this.
Well, I do too, because it's in my top 20.
Well, yeah, serious stuff right there.
Yeah. Well, just favorite films in general. If it's a best films list, that would be fucking totally different list altogether.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this is one that I rewatch from time to time. This is definitely one that I showed my buddies. Do you agree that you wish you want to see Peter Jackson return to like his horror roots, though? See what he would do with like a budget now, or maybe like a lower budget per se. Not as low as this, but
yeah. Yeah, honestly, like I said, I haven't really seen any other of his horror movies. I mean, obviously I've seen King Kong. That's more of like an action adventure type of movie when you really get down to it. But Yeah, I think based on this, it's honestly pretty fantastic work. Just the cinematography and the effects and all that are all pretty well done for what this movie is.